recent years, comic book movies have been hitting it out of the park. But there are always a few exceptions, and of course a lot of stinkers that we would much rather leave buried on the moon. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 biggest missteps in comic book movies.
That we can agree on.
Adapting a comic book to the cinema world is a lot harder than it looks. And because a superhero movie necessitates a big budget, there will be big box office expectations as well.
This is what it means to be a judge. This is the commitment I expect.
As a result, pleasing die-hard fans as well as the general public results in a really fine line these movies need to walk. Here are some of the recurring sins that comic book movies need to avoid.
Don't hurt the face, I'm an actor.
You got a minute to live, fill it with words.
Just a role. The Mandarin, see, it's not real.
Number 10, overuse of foreshadowing, sequel baiting.
Alexei Sitsevich, currently serving a life sentence. He is most eager to join us.
Kicking off our list is a technique that can leave your audience hungry for more, foreshadowing. If you already know your movie is going to be part of a huge story arc, it's okay to leave the audience with a little taste of what's to come.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
For example, the use of post-credit scenes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe were a good way to let audiences know that the best was yet to come. In recent years, however, movies have been going way too overboard with the foreshadowing. More and more, we're seeing movies that aren't really about the movie we're watching right now, but the one we are expected to come back for next year. Sometimes that movie never gets made, making the whole endeavor a big waste of time.
Why would we need a name?
Because we're a team now, and there's 4 of us, so we should come up with a name for it.
Like the Human Torch and the Torchettes.
Number 9, shoehorning in characters for no reason. A supporting cast is necessary in any movie, but you need to be respectful to all of the characters in your movie. More specifically, if you're gonna have a comic book icon like Gwen Stacy in your Spider-Man film, she should be more than just a throwaway love interest.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
When your movie stars Superman, don't have him play second fiddle to a bumbling Richard Pryor.
I mean, how was I to know he was gonna start doing his thing when you started doing your thing?
More importantly, if you really need to include several important X-Men mutants in a Wolverine-centered movie, some of which are making their silver screen debut, have them contribute to the story in some way. Otherwise, it can ruin the character and sours the audience to them for the future.
Are you Remy LeBeau?
Do I owe you money?
No.
Then Remy LeBeau I am.
Number 8, too many subplots.
No, I have no intention of settling down. This man killed my uncle, and he's still out there.
Sometimes when one movie plot doesn't feel satisfying enough, adding a secondary plot or two can make things interesting. But that can also be pretty risky. If a movie needs to have subplots, be careful of how many they need to squeeze in.
If the water spirits accept me, I can return to my dream and find what I missed.
If you try to juggle a blooming or dying romance alongside battling the main villain, while that same villain has his or her own romantic subplot, the whole story is going to get lost in the translation.
Norman Osborn has falsified evidence against me in order to take control of my work.
While individual character arcs are important for character development, too many narratives make a movie that will just collapse in on itself.
Would you like a drink? I'm sorry.
What was I thinking?
Bad for the public image, right, Mr. Key to the City?
Number 7, too many jokes and one-liners.
Your shots are so good.
I'd love to shoot you sometime.
Not a deal breaker per se, as one of the fun perks of being a comic book hero is that you can add some humor to your dialogue while taking out the bad guys. Spider-Man is essentially known for this, and he excels at it.
Just let me go.
Is that a knife? Is that a real knife?
Yes, it's a real knife.
My weakness, it's small knives.
Just let me go.
Anything but knives!
But if your hero is established as a serious and professional, or the situation is dire and desperate, a joke can spoil the whole mood for a scene.
Nobody has to break anything.
Clearly, you've never made an omelet.
You beat me by 1 second.
Some movies have even taken this much too far, and it's clear that the filmmakers got way too carried away with their own sense of humor. Cool it with the jokes, boys.
Ooh. Talk about your cold shoulder.
Number 6, trying to be too gritty.
Hey, clobbering time. Come here. What you think? You think you can talk to me like that? Huh? You think you can talk to me like that?
Fans continue to praise The Dark Knight for its darker tone, themes, and atmosphere, capturing the spirit of Batman perfectly. However, nowadays more and more movies are trying to capture that same gritty feeling, which just doesn't work the same way when your hero is, say, I don't know, an alien in a skin-tight blue jumpsuit.
Never.
Superheroes are inherently fun and a little campy, with origins and stories that don't often lend themselves to be taken too seriously. Yet, some studios insist on trying to make it work and refuse to learn their lesson.
They're sending Johnny into the field.
You mean he's sending himself into the field?
The only way to stop him is to cure him.
Number 5, awful casting.
I knew they'd do that.
No doubt one crucial element to any successful blockbuster is the casting. So, if you're looking for the right actor to play your leading hero or villain, going with the big name isn't always the right call.
You are so beautiful.
Of course, names attract a crowd, but if he or she doesn't fit the part, you end up with a good actor in a crappy movie.
I knew you'd say that.
Hey, wait a second. What are you doing?
Grenade.
It's not unheard of for big-name actors to phone in their roles, so casting someone who actually wants to be there is very important. Even if the movie turns out to be awesome, a miscast role doesn't do anyone any favors.
Our enemies are your enemies, Nick. Disorder, war. Just a matter of time before a dirty bomb goes off in Moscow or an EMP fries Chicago.
Number 4, favoring CGI over practical effects.
And please don't make the supersuit green or animated.
CGI is necessary for most comic book movies. We get it, but in some cases it just goes way too far. When it comes to creating fantastical sci-fi scenery and monstrous green creatures smashing the hell out of everything, CGI is probably necessary.
Smash.
But more and more, this has become a substitute for things that the filmmakers are just too lazy to do manually. The result is a movie that can end up becoming a bit of a joke.
Not bad, huh? You're a superhero.
Speaking of costumes, why did they drop the claw props in the original X-Men films and replace them with silly-looking computer-generated claws? Look at this shit, what is that? Number 3, rebooting too early, rehashing origin stories. Oh look, Uncle Ben died. Again. It's bound to happen. A franchise fizzles out and gets lost for a few years, and then someone decides now is the right time to dunk it in the Lazarus pit, so to speak.
Each of you working together with a level of commitment and collaboration, putting aside petty squabbles if you want to fix what my generation broke.
But if you reboot a movie franchise too soon, you'll be forcing the same audience to rewatch the same story, and inevitably then choose which director told the story best.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Origin stories are already the hardest part of a movie to pace. Seeing it over and over again so soon with a different actor makes the first half of any reboot feel completely pointless.
You always said I had the potential to do something important. Who's to say this isn't it?
Number 2, too many villains.
Let's cool it for now. I've got someone I want you to meet.
One of the best and most important parts of any superhero story is the villain. And with every hero comes some of the coolest bad guys ever put to screen.
You complete me. You're garbage. You kills for money.
However, no matter how awesome the villain, there's no need to cram so many into one film. Characters like Spider-Man and Batman can handle one or two villains at a time, but the more crowded things get, the less screen time each villain will end up getting.
You're so right. I'm thinking humiliation.
It makes sense to have villains working together, but too many villains is always kryptonite to a superhero movie.
Interested?
Yeah.
Before we unveil our number 1 misstep, here are a few dishonorable mentions.
They're all just scared kids.
We don't know what they are right now. All we know is that they are dangerous and powerful, which makes them extremely valuable to the guys who run this place.
I am smarter than you.
Now!
Alright! It's clobbering time!
Number 1. Not honoring the source material.
I am the Mandarin!
Why bother making an adaptation of something if you're just gonna ignore your inspiration? The best part of any comic book film is capturing the spirit and feeling of the original comics, so study more than just the character names, please.
Wait. You don't have to do this. Alright, maybe you do.
Anti-heroes in particular are something that comic book movies tend to struggle with. Whether it's everyone's favorite merc with a mouth getting his mouth sewn shut, or DC's lead femme fatale becoming a nonsensical, well, we don't even know what she becomes in 2004's Catwoman.
Catwomen are not contained by the rules of society.
At least with the former, the studio seems to have learned their lesson.
This guy's got the right idea. He wore the brown pants.
Daddy needs to express some rage.
Do you agree with our list?
That's why we risked so much to save you.
What do you think is a comic book movie's greatest weakness? For more super critical top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Well, I'm totally over, all right? Positively.
Me too, definitely. Great stems, though.
Buds, too.
Yeah, those are nice.